before we get to today's topic, I just wanted to give you a quick update on this cage we just showed you for our dwarf caiman. As you can see, we added in some really cool moonbeam lighting, and it does have a daylight, so you can turn on the LED light. Now you can kind of really see him. You can see, like I told you, the water would clear up. It would clear up. We have the filter currently off just because it makes too much noise for filming, and then I have to yell at you. I don't want to have to yell at you, so we'll put that back on, but you can see it did a wonderful job. Everything's looking good. There's a lot of swimming goldfish, although right before filming he decided to kill one that's by his head that I got to dig out, but I'm not doing that when it's by the gator's jaws. For a really bright display, we have these two lights as well, where you can really light up the entire cage. And again, that water came out crystal clear like we said it would. So I did want to share with you how that worked. Let's turn on the rest of the lights now and actually get to our topic today. So you guys have seen that the reptile house is really coming along. I mean, we got a couple of badass rattlesnakes in here. We got the awesome dwarf caiman cage that we showed you earlier for Sobek, and now we showed you how clear the water is. I knew we were going to get a little bit of crap to that water. We actually didn't though, so thank you guys for being understanding, but you can see the filter does definitely work. Tell you a quick secret, we actually broke the canister filter. I guess it didn't like to move and got an air leak, so we had to replace it for a pond filter. So we've been a little stressed lately, but we got them all figured out. But as you can see here, there's a new glass tank here. So that means something new's coming. I'm not going to tell you what, but by the end of this video you're going to see. So let's see if you guys can figure it out in the comments section before we actually show the animal by what all we're putting in there, what we're going to tell you we're going to do. So basically what we have here is just, your basic, fairly large glass tank. This will not be the animal's permanent home. This is actually, don't need that. This is going to end up being the animal's temporary home. Well, it's here to settle in, and once we get it well established and well settled in and everything rocking and rolling, this animal will actually be owned by Olympus Reptiles, but will be featured in the zoo at Manhattan Reptile World. So it is going to be there. Now, this cage has, and this should give you a secret about what we're doing, multiple access points. We have access points in the front, access points on the top with clippies here and here where we can get in if we need to and lock that down. So really kind of a neat cage. So what in the world will we possibly be putting in here? I don't know. Let's go ahead and get this out. Don't need this. This is 20 long is the size of it. Let's see if we can't take the tape off here. This will make for excellent video. Matt removes tape. Now this is something we do carry in our retail shop. So basically what we did is just snatch it out of there to do this job. Now this is just a little locking pin, which is important so it locks those front doors, so even if they're unlocked, the doors can't come open. So it will be important that this pin be in there every time on both the top and the bottom. But it does give us some, maybe, that should hold those closed. That should make these open up. Ah, there they go. Some front swing out doors, which will be really nice. However, I anticipate using the top more frequently. It does come with this really cool background that, I don't know, we may leave in, we may not. We'll probably leave it out. What do you think, Kurt? Leave the background in or out?
Out.
Out. Kurt says out. So now I can figure out how to get it out. We'll probably have to take the top to do that. Now these panels right here, this is actually really cool. So, and again, this should probably give you a little bit of a hint about what's going in here. At least what type of snake. Maybe not the exact species yet. But you can see they say do not place flat lights or any heat source on this. But these are going to cover and fit in like that. So the nice thing is if you're using one of these to put lights on, you'll need the screen. But if you're not, you can put these panels on. And just like we make panels for the top of a rattlesnake cage, this is a panel that helps to, keep things from striking through that. They're removable if needs be with them on there. You can still pop that in all the way, access the top here, like so, maybe. Fits tight, like that. So there's still a lot you can do with that. Really, really cool. So, anyway, we'll end up taking that out for now. What those will do too, besides protect your fingers, is also add humidity. There's also one for the small trap door. This would be more of a feed door. I'll probably never use this because the whole thing pops off. I really don't much care for that. So this will probably always stay closed. But that will be the cage. Let's go over some of the equipment we're going to run in here. We're going to run, of course, a spotlight. It's going to set right there. And this is not too tall of a cage. We're running a 100-watt ceramic infrared heater. That should also tell you a little bit of something about what's going on. It's going to be a high heat animal. We got a hide to keep it secure, and we also got a rather large and heavy ceramic dish that a pretty good sized snake can still fit in and soak in if it wants to curl up in there. So I'm going to throw all this together, give you a tour of it when it's done, but I'm not going to make you watch that. So we'll be right back in just a minute with the completed cage. How about this? Wait a minute. See if I can just do it by magic. Let's go. And boom! So now you can see, man, I wish they were all that simple. If I could just snap my fingers and cages go together, wouldn't that be great? Let's take a look at what we've done here. And this is why you always set up important stuff to you a day or so in advance. We realize that we actually don't have the cord link to get where we need to go. So before we get the animal here, we got to get a power strip to be able to run it the way we want to run it. So always set things up in advance so you're not sitting there at the wrong time going, oh crap, we need this. Now, let's look at this cage. Of course, we're running a Reptile Prime in here. We've got that moistened down for a beginning to see how it does. You can kind of see the wet on top. We didn't soak it. We've got a nice wood log hide. That's actually what this animal's already used to. We tried to replicate what the other owner was keeping it in very, very successfully. And then we have a large water dish that it can soak in. This is a round one. The original one I had was square, but it should work close enough. Big, heavy ceramic that the snake should be able to get in and soak when it wants to. Oh, let the cat out of the bag. It is a snake, if you didn't guess already. And we're running a 100-watt ceramic heat emitter to run a basking spot. As close as this is going to run a pretty high temp. We're expected to be about 94 to 95 degrees. To keep the overall temp in here pretty warm, we also, in the middle, have a fairly large mat heater, and it's on a thermostat. So that way we can set that temperature to keep the overall running probably close to 80 to 84 with a hot spot of about 94 to 95. That's the goal we're trying to achieve in here. So anyway, there we go. So now is the time that if you know, or you think you know what's going on in here, pause, stick it in the comments. You're not going to win anything, but hell, it's fun. And we will put a snake in here tomorrow. Fortunately for you, though, you don't have to wait that long. It's all going to be one film. So we'll be right back to film the next segment. So have you already made your guesses? Well, let me tell you something. If you thought this was something I could pick up at your local FedEx, you're wrong. As you can see, we're in a huge parking lot for cars. But we're not at a place for cars. We're at the airport. So what we're getting today, if you haven't guessed yet, now's still your chance. We had to get it in an airport. That should be a pretty big clue right there. But now I'm going to get off here because it's waiting for me. I'm going to go get it. So here it is, guys. This is what we've been waiting for. You can see day turned to night when we waited, but it came right on time. We got here early because we're excited. Here it is. This is the animal. Yep, doesn't tell you what's in there. That's going in our cage. So we're going to take this home now. We're going to put it in that cage, and you are going to get to see what's in the box. Trust me, it's not the same thing that Saturday Night Live puts in the box. Justin Timberlake, you're dirty. That's not what's in this box. But what's in the box? Let's go. All right, YouTube, so it's time. You've watched us kind of build this up and show you this box, and we've probably been guessing hopefully what's in the box. Well, let's show you what's in the box. This is going to be one of our new zoo animals eventually. It's going to be here till it settles in, and then it will move to the zoo. First of all, I want to give a big shout out to Andrew Aidenbaum for sending us this animal. So what happened is he basically wanted us to have this for a zoo, thought it should be on display, and he hooked us up with it. So that is amazing and that is awesome. So thank you so much for that. And without further ado, let's show it to you. Now I am going to go ahead and give you one hint. It is a venomous animal. And it is in a bag inside of this shipping container. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you some safe ways to manipulate a venomous snake in a bag. Is this the way everybody does it? Probably not. Some of you who've done this probably do it different. But this is how I tend to do things. So let's go ahead and do that. One, this bag had some zip ties holding it down too. We've already removed all of those. So open that latch, flip that up, and you're going to see the bag is in there. Now, I don't know how well you can see in there, but all that bag is kind of together, so I really don't want to pick that up by my hands. If I was going to, I could grab it right there, no problem. But just as a case of point caution, I'm going to pick that whole thing up just like that. Now what I like to do is lay these bags on the ground. Then I take a hook, okay? We're going to put that right there. I know the snake is down there. I'm going to bring that hook. Well, I don't get it stuck with on this. Get out of the way. So I'm just going to bring that hook down. Okay, there. And now I can put pressure on it. And I can hold that hook in place. Here's my leg, and I know all this is empty, which means I can work with this very, very safely. Now I get any kind of tool I got. In this case, it's a pair of needle nose with some cutters. We're just going to cut off these. Maybe. Come on, baby. Tell you what, did not skimp on the zip ties. I appreciate that. Man, there's one off. And again, this is safe. I can handle all this because the snake is stuck there, and this is keeping it down. The trick is keep pressure on that. That's where my knee is, to hold that flat so I can do this work safely. Now, when we cut this off, we got a problem. I'll show you. Maybe. She is angry, angry, angry. Maybe I should have got a better cutting tool to do this job. Man. I have to run this in some high speed. There we go. Finally got that one cut. So now this is cut, and this isn't tied, this bag can open. So we could have access right to the snake. So what we'll do now, hope I can do this all on my own. We'll see. We're going to clamp that closed. This pair of tongs. Then I can simply remove this. And again, been perfectly safe. We're going to go ahead and open the top here, like so. And then we are just going to pick this bag up. We're going to place the whole bag in there, trying not to get it in the water. Look at that. Perfect, just what I wanted to do. So we're going to set that open and keep your tools handy. Try to just grab this thing here from the corner. And try to convince the snake it's a good idea to get out. We are going to end up in the water dish, but pretty sure it's going to figure it out pretty quick. What you don't want to do is grab that snake by hand. Because right now, until it's out and I see it, there it is. There you guys go. That is our new snake. I'll go ahead and flip this closed. And again, the nice thing about this cage is it does have this plastic guard. So I'm able to make sure, and just always on these, check and make sure everything is locked down. Very, very important. And what we have here is, of course, a gaboon viper. And you're seeing it at the same time I'm seeing it for the first time. So I'm going to get down here and just take a close look at this thing. And man, let me tell you, Mr. Aidenbaum, you sent me one healthy gaboon viper. This is it's supposed to be a female, is what we believe it to be. And she looks perfect. The colors on these are just amazing. You know, I cannot wait to get her on display and probably put her in some leaf litter. Most places don't put them in the leaf litter, but that's what they like to be in. And they'll actually kind of wiggle down in there, and this big old snake will disappear when it gets full size. They are just gorgeous, gorgeous animals. And if you can imagine a lot of the scattered leaves and that pattern breaking it up and all those colors, you'll never see it. It is awesome. I also love the line on these things' heads. The head is massive, but that line right down from the nose down kind of cuts it in two. It's just such a cool look, and their head ends up being so, so massive. They're just such an impressive snake. This has been something that's been on my bucket list for a very, very, very long time. And now I get to keep one. I get to work with one. And that is just super, super exciting. The only bad thing I'll say about a gaboon viper is, like, when I work with the rattlesnake, I'll often hook and tail it. These guys have such a strong body. Hooking and tailing really isn't recommended. I can hook and tail a Western Diamondback all day long. Most of them don't have the strength where they're going to be able to flip around. These things do. So when they get big, they're going to get big. You tend to have to use 2 hooks or a hook and a tong to move them. 2 hooks is usually the recommended way of doing it, where you can pick them up and move them with 2 hooks. So you don't ever really get to go hands-on with them. And, you know, there is always something to having an animal physically in contact with you that is going to be missing in this relationship, but that's okay. It's an okay trade-off to have this amazing creature. I'm ecstatic. And I'm sorry for such a build-up, but this is such a dream animal of mine that I had to build it up. And I just couldn't be happier. Why we set the cage up the way we have is we looked at pictures of the cage that it came from, and we tried to really closely replicate that. It was needing a larger cage. He was going to upgrade it, but instead of upgrading, he decided to send it to us. So he was going to put a bigger cage. So he went ahead and recommended that. But it had the same style of half-log hide, and it had a very large water dish he was able to get in. This one's round, so the other one being square. And the same style of coconut fiber. So we're trying to replicate everything to lower the stress for this creature. I just want to let her settle in and get to feeding her and see if we can't get her to grow. Kurt, anything you want to add?
No.
Okay, one thing I'm going to tell you is everybody names Gaboon Viper something like Gabby. I'm not going to do that. I am going to name this animal. But it'll take me a little while. I really want to see its personality and attitude before I choose a name, because this is one of those venomous reptiles that was, I think it's on everybody's list. It was definitely on mine. So it needs an iconic name to go with what it is. But I'm just going to have to get to know it a little bit better before I can pick that. But we will take suggestions, and we may choose one, so feel free to put them in there. But I also may pick something totally different. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming on this epic journey. And I'm going to get off of here now because it is about 2 in the morning. We've been at this. It's very, very early to get this done. And it was a really late night last night. And I know I need to go to bed, and so does camera guy Kurt. So we'll see you later.